Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Peks here, and welcome to another episode in my series from Zero to Hero. And on this series, we're gonna cover choir and sound effects. Now, I'm gonna show you two different sections because choir can be only used in two ways, either as a background element or as a primary element. You can usually use choir for a secondary element, but I prefer my choir to be on the backgrounds or be a primary. So I'm going to show you this tutorial template I've been working with you. So this is the new part I've made, and this is my background element. So yeah, just added the choir as a bed in harmony towards the climax. I might add some more choir in the climax, but I'm making these videos as I go, as I'm involved with other projects. So in this template, I use the choir as a background element. And what I mean by that is what I just explained. It just sits at the far back in the orchestral section. And that sitting at the far back is this expression which I'm going to teach you in the mixing section in the next episode. But for now, let's just focus on what the choir is. So the choir is actually a very powerful section, and the same techniques apply in the brass here. So everything from attack to dynamics, velocity keys, and all that all works either the expression, the attack and releases, everything is the same. And also, since it's a choir, so it requires oxygen. So it's actually people singing and exhaling air and oxygen. So you actually have to create, again, spaces. So this is very important. A lot of beginners do these mistakes with woodwinds, brass, and choir. So this is something I already covered, but pay attention when building your choir. Even if you want long sustained notes over your strings as a background, keep in mind that you can't use the choir as a synthetic choir unless you're doing some electro music. But if you're going for orchestral, then you need to create some space sometime, right? So all the rest works the same. Attack releases, that's the same. But this is the background element. Now in this video, I'm going to show you the primary element. Okay, so welcome back. I just wanted to show you what are the main differences between a primary choir and a layered choir, as you saw in my tutorial template. So this is actually a soundtrack that's already on my YouTube channel. It's my Dark Souls in 5 minutes track. So it's the soundtrack for a video game I'm composing for. I mean, this is what I mean about primary choir. As you can see, it's quite different here. The choir follows a more melody path. This is actually current melody of the entire track. So the choir is layering the melody. So it's a primary element in the intro section and later on the climax section as well. So these are the two main differences. So yeah, welcome back. And that's it for the choir. You can either do it like this as a background for everything, or you can go primary like I did with the Mellow soundtrack. So it all depends on you. Now for sound effects, sound design. So sound effects, well, I I do it this way. There's people that do it different ways, but I usually go like this because I think it's easier. Um, But there's a different ways because the sound effects are basically just ear candy. I mean, you don't necessarily need them, and they don't exist in a real orchestral track, but they just add a little bit of oomph to the track. Uh, so this is my technique. I'm going to show you. You can copy my technique, but I suggest you to invent something creative. Um, do your own mixes in your own soundtracks to make it more interesting. But usually this is my guideline. So in my first bar of each measure, I add a boom. So a boom is this little sound. So it's just it's a low percussion. It's very faded like a sub bass. Um, and then I can actually delete this, and then each second before each second bar on the second measure, sorry, the first bar in the second measure, I usually add something new, something different. In this case, it was a reverse FX, like that. So I'm just gonna delete this, and then on the third, I did the same. This time, added a new effect. So this is a signal. So you can add whatever you could add, like a Bram here, for example, or you can even start with a pulse. It doesn't matter. What I advise you is I do have it like this here because I do pre-mix a little bit before doing everything on the mix stage. But when you pass to the mix stage, just keep every sample on the default level, okay? Never change the volume here, but other change it on the mix tab. So that's going to be important. Uh, so the third bar is going to have something new, and then up to the fourth bar into the new section, I usually have some build up or something different. In this case, it's a sweep, and also added a new reverse effects for the pause, and then it enters again. So before a new section, just create some riser effects or add a fourth new element, and that's gonna help a lot in your track. So in this case, in my soft build after the build up, this sweep build up effect, I didn't add much because if you remember correctly, it used to sit some vocals here, but I just took them off because I thought they're a bit bad. So I just took them off. So there's a big section here that can be filled with something, but I just don't know what yet. You can add a pulse. A pulse is this sort of thing, or some more elements. You can actually, for example, let's say on this section here. So let's add this here again, and let's create a new one. Let's make it unique, and let's reverse it, and let's get out all in. So this actually controls how much the output is going to be shortened or deleted if it's all the case, and this case is the in. So if you want something shorter and drier, so just push the in. If you want something thinner, just push the out one. It kind of works like that. So let's just get this together like so. So this is actually a technique you can use as well. Uh, Maybe this is a little bit wrong, but you get the draft. Now, for the build-up section, I actually added something new, which is the trailer hits, as you can see here, and a bigger hit to layer. They're a little bit out of focus still because I only covered the fine details on the mixing, but this is what I've added. And as you notice, everything is the same. It's quite like the first part of the boom is everywhere, and then there's a lot of reverse effects here and there. There's a lot of signals as well, always on the third or fourth or first bar, depending where it sounds better. And then there's just a couple of trailer hits here and there. And there's also trail its layer in each first bar until the last part. So let me show you the singularity. So this is one hit. This is another hit. And so this is a totally new section, as mentioned previously here on the intro. Since I have this sweep thing, which is kind of works like an uplifter, it's the same thing before the climax. I have this little uplifter here and the new signal here. I can actually reverse this. Maybe perhaps let's take this off and let's add this one here. It might sound good or not. It will depend. More in. Just want a little bit. Actually, I think it sounds okay here. So everything is the same. On the fourth, again on the fourth, there's something happening, and this time I added the pulse. So there's different types of pulses. I use Acer X, and they have a lot of things. And usually I take the pulses from my Abbott pulses, and they're just presets already made. So I just modulate them how I want. So. So you can create a lot of different sound design. And for example, if you have some, let me see here. I'm going to show you. Let's say low. So this is on G. But even if it's not on G, let me teach you some way. So maybe not low, maybe mid. So this works fine. As you can see, it's 100 BPM, and our track is 128. Sorry. So what you can do is actually go here and stretch it. I think I've covered this in the previous tutorial. So let's just put it nicely done. And let's just sample it again. And then since it's E and this is on, I believe it's D. Can even remember the track I've made. Amazing. So it's E. Oh, so it's C. Perfect. So I haven't changed. I don't need to change anything. So let's just go like that. Let's add everything. Let's just delete this. Let's see how it gets from here. It's just more ear candy. I mean, it does clash with other frequencies, but that's what the mixing stage is for. So when you get to the mixing stage, you can just take a bunch of sound effects and it's just try. There's no right or wrong when it comes to sound effects. You just have to try to see what sounds good and what fits. This is all part of the creative. There's no actually way of doing this because this is not part of a full orchestral. This is actually just sound design and creativity. So you can do this and yeah, try to just follow these simple guidelines. The first beat always have to add something. The second beat, try to add little spice. The third beat can be the same as the first, and the fourth beat before going to a new section, just give it a little uplifter or some sweep or something different to bring some more color out. And this is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you've learned anything, something good, and I'll see you on the mixing.